Everybody agrees on that. But this utter destruction and violence is not the way to do that.
And President Trump brought this back again to the country.
With Joe Biden, he hasn't even condemned Antifa. Just think about that for 1 minute. He hasn't condemned the rioters.
If you voted for Trump, you ain't black.
Yeah, you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
I had to look at myself and black, because some people say, Herschel, you're not black. I'm like, no, I am black.
HBCUs and the things that the president has done to invest and to support the black community, that's how we grow out of this.
Keep finding the police is insane. The police are what protect us all from anarchy.
We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will make America great again.
Welcome to Team Trump Online.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Team Trump Online, Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle, Senior Advisor to President Trump's re-election campaign and the National Chair of Trump Victory Finance Committee. Joining me this afternoon is Andrew Iverson, our Trump 2020 Wisconsin State Director, Andrew Hitt, the Chair of the Wisconsin GOP, and Wisconsin small business owner Mark Coleman. But first, we will hear from Wisconsin Representative John Meiko. All right, so for the past few months, Americans have suffered from the coronavirus pandemic. And in order to control the outbreak, business across the nation closed, leaving millions without work and businesses with no way to survive. President Trump acted quickly and signed the Paycheck Protection Program. And as a result, 50 million jobs were saved. And small businesses across the nation have been supported with the economic relief that they desperately needed. President Trump's policies worked, and a record 2.5 million jobs were added back to the economy in May. And that is the largest monthly job gain in U.S. history. So we are now heading towards a great American comeback under President Trump's leadership. All right, perfect. Okay, so let's begin now with Representative Meiko. Representative Meiko, thank you again so much for joining us today. You work in the Wisconsin legislature now, but you also owned a business, Meiko's Floor Covering Center. So tell us about that. Oh, I love a good floor covering, let me tell you. I'm in the remodel business. So you know firsthand the struggles and hardships of actually building a business, keeping it maintained, and then having to go through something like this. How have small businesses in your area been affected by the coronavirus pandemic, and how are they using this Paycheck Protection Program to help keep them running?
Yep, that's right, Kim, and thank you so much for having me. We did build, very much like the Holman family that you'll be talking to soon, started by his dad, also started by my dad. So we built the floor covering stores throughout Wisconsin, and actually now in Florida run by my brothers. And after that, about 20 years, I built the Meiko Financial Group. We do financial planning and asset management for clients in about 16 states. And then our youngest son built a company called Legacy Box. They're an Inc. 500 fastest growing company out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. So collectively, we have about 450 employees doing business in all states. And so it was very devastating to us to have some of that stuff shut down. Now, fortunately, in the construction industry and the manufacturing industry, we are considered exempt, but I have such a problem with that term. And it seems so very arbitrary. If you ask me, all jobs are essential. So we did see a pullback on the new orders on some of it, but on some of the stay-at-home stuff, like in the digitizing component that my son has done on Legacy Box, they've actually hired 60 additional people. All of our companies did apply for PPP. We really had no idea. We didn't know what we didn't know at the time, and so we braced for a disaster. And so we did apply for PPP. We were very, very grateful to have that, and as a result, we have not laid off any of our employees whatsoever, and we're continuing to move on forward in a very structure, a little bit of a different structure than we used to.
Sure.
Continuing to move forward on that.
All right, well, fantastic. You sound optimistic and positive. Everybody likes somebody with a plan, put it in action, and keep it going, because so many lives, depend on it, and families. When you have a business like that, it affects their families at home, and you feel that responsibility not only to provide for your family, but you've got other families that are relying on you. It's a tough position to be in. So before the coronavirus artificially halted America's soaring economy, we were reaching record low unemployment, and we look to be heading in that direction once more. Great job numbers and everything on Friday. Now, as I mentioned earlier, against all the odds, the economy did add a record 2.5 million jobs in May. And it really was, quite frankly, it was a complete shock, considering the economists all thought that we could lose actually an additional 7.5 million jobs. And instead, we reversed that trend right on its head. And President Trump is without a doubt and will be known, I think, forevermore as America's jobs president. Representative, you have a similar background as President Trump, because you were a businessman who then decided to go and serve your country and enter into politics. Oh, why? These days, right? Can you tell us why the president's economic policies have been so successful as a businessman yourself? And are you seeing those results in Wisconsin, in your state?
Well, I wouldn't compare myself to the president. He's just a very admirable man, and why he's doing that is beyond my beyond my understanding. But I'm so grateful for him for doing that. But very much like that, I decided that I must do something. Will always accomplish more than saying something must get done. And so I remember the day they called and they said, "We want to come and talk to you." I said, "No, don't come and talk to me. Who wants to come and talk to me?" The speaker wants to come and talk to you. And it's like, I'm not running for anything. And while that didn't work out very well, but we get a chance to do what we need to do there. And what I said back on March 12th. Is I said, the problem and the danger that everybody's going to make here is when they say, yeah, but this time it's different. It's not any different. It's not different from the 1974 oil embargo when we had, and Jeff or Mark will remember this, when we had oil rationing every other day. We had hostages in Iran. We had interest rates, home mortgage interest rates at 12 and 14%. And it took the Reagan administration to come in and turn that ship around. And so we'll make a danger. The danger we have here is to say, yeah, but this time is different, and then not bet on the economy, on capitalism, and good old-fashioned Yankee ingenuity. And that is what's gotten us out here. The things that the president does that I think previous ones have not, he's done a couple of things. First of all, he has, in Wisconsin here, we have a committee called the Red Tape Review, and their whole function is to find old, antiquated laws and rules and regulations that are stymieing the economy and get rid of them. The president has done that in spades, and that one thing alone has unleashed a lot of power here. In the financial planning business, we used to say, people would say, well, you must be for this president or that president. And I said, well, I am, but it kind of doesn't matter, because for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And so if you're going to tax income, I'll give you cap gains. If you're going to have cap gains, we'll do something else. The president understands that. And so he's been able to release that power. The second thing he did was the tax cut bill, the tick job. By putting that together, that unleashed a tremendous amount of capital into our economy. In the state of Wisconsin alone, we had unprecedented tax refunds. 75% of the people in the state of Wisconsin overpay their taxes all the time. It's beyond me. It's free money. We thank them very much for that. But that has done that. And so I would sum up the thing in two different ways. I can remember when President Obama was out and he said to all of us business owners, you didn't build that. Somebody else built that for you. And that was insulting. That was insulting to every small business owner that was out there. And the difference with President Trump is he aligns himself more along the lines of Winston Churchill when he said, some people see private enterprise as a predatory animal to be shot. Some people see it as a cow to be milked, but few people see it as the sturdy ox pulling the cart. And that's what's driving our school funding. That's what's driving bridges and infrastructure support. It's all the taxes that our companies and everybody else's companies put into the system, and the hundreds of jobs that we create. And the president understood that that's the root of all of the success.
Totally. And it was such a pleasure. I got to travel with the vice president for the Tax Cuts and Job Act. And it has had a big impact. And I appreciate you, bringing that up. And also, you really do highlight one of the big reasons why people need to choose President Trump on November 3rd. A businessman, someone that understands, like yourself, what it means to run a business, to manage people, to be responsible for other people's, livelihood, for the money coming into their families, that sign the front of a paycheck, not just the back. So, and it is time to reopen the economy. Americans have suffered for far too long. We need to get everyone back to work so they can provide for themselves and for their families. That's what Americans want. Now, unfortunately, the Democrats have been slow to change course and do just that. Instead, they're working in the opposite direction. Representative, what do you think? The same has really occurred in Wisconsin with Governor Tony Evers. What do you think about this? Why are the Democrats dragging their feet and hurting Americans and hurting American lives?
You know, I think Kimberly, it had to do with just exactly what we talked about there. In our situation here, no one in the governor's administration has been in charge of anything for the last 10 years. They've not chaired a committee, vice chaired a committee. Their staff is not clerked a committee. They really don't run an organization. I think if you're going to have a conversation on taxes, you ought to have paid a bunch. And I think if you're going to have a conversation on job creation, you ought to have actually created some. And they don't have that.
Exactly.
They don't have that depth of knowledge to tap into. And Wisconsin will come out of this very, very strong. As I'm chair of the tax committee, as well as my NCSL policies nationally, I'm chair of their budget and revenue committees. And so when I sit and look at Wisconsin, how positioned we are, and this is a point you've got to bring back to the president. Sure. We don't want him because Wisconsin has already done the heavy lifting. We are where we are today because of 10 years worth of dynamic quality leadership and management through Governor Walker and the Republican-controlled legislature. And so what we're seeing now is when we look at the last recession, when we came off of the last Democratic governor with Governor Doyle, we had to reach up just to get to the bottom. We had a $600 million hole in our K-12 education. We owed the state of Minnesota $79 million for whatever reason. Our structural deficit was nearly $4 billion. Our debt was substantially higher. We owed money into the unemployment insurance fund. It was absolutely ridiculous. We had nearly $4 billion worth of credit cards we had to pay off before we could get going. We don't have that situation now. Wisconsin is a large GDP organization. We do about $400 billion a year in GDP. We're twice the size of the country of Greece, twice the size of the country of New Zealand, twice the size of the country of Romania, bigger than Singapore. And I think what we're going to see, we are a manufacturing state. And so we're going to see those businesses come back. We're going to see those jobs come back, and Wisconsin's going to flourish. And we're going to be doing it on our own. And so we have a fully funded pension plan. And so our workers are hard workers. And I think with the help that you've given us for our farming community, as well as manufacturers, I'm very excited about where that future will be for the state of Wisconsin.
Absolutely. I'm optimistic about it too. And I love the state of Wisconsin. I've had many great memories there. I look forward to getting back out on the road and coming and seeing you guys. There's tremendous people there and great hospitality. And you just have a warm feeling about America when, you're in your state. All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you again so much for joining us, Representative Meiko. I really appreciate your time and your leadership and also really, serving the country in the way that you do. And we'll be right back after this commercial break. Stay with us.
Antifa is destroying our communities, rioting, looting. Yet Joe Biden kneels down and his staff sends money for bail. And Biden fails to stand up to the radical leftists fighting to defund and abolish the police. With Biden kneeling to the left, we'd have chaos in the streets. President Trump is standing up for us, keeping our communities safe, protecting minority-owned businesses, and always standing for our flag.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Democrats destroy everything they touch. That's a fact. After years of failure as a result of their terrible leadership, our nation is finally winning again under President Donald J. Trump. Sadly, the Democrats and the fake news media hate my father more than they love our country, and they're doing whatever it takes to tear us down at the expense of the American people. That's why we need every American patriot to step up and join our fight. Just download our app to receive alerts from the Trump campaign, and you'll get the latest updates on our efforts to keep America great.
Welcome back to Team Trump Online. And today we are spotlighting Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I'm Kimberly Guilfoyle. And we just heard why the economy continues to rebound under President Trump and the real reason Democrats don't want the economy to reopen from Wisconsin Representative John Meiko. Now we are joined by Wisconsin small business owner Mark Coleman. Mark, thank you so much for joining us on the program. It's really a pleasure to have you. And I love talking to people who are business owners that are living their American dream. It excites me. It's great. We need more entrepreneurs and people like yourself out there trying to find their American dream, open businesses, and stimulate this economy. Now, you in particular, you own an automotive business in Wisconsin. So home and auto sales, giving you a little plug there. Just like other businesses across the nation, the coronavirus pandemic has hurt your bottom line and made it difficult to keep operations going. But it's not all bad news, right? Because you were a recipient of the Paycheck Protection Program, which helped keep your business afloat. What would have happened to your business, your employees, had you not used the Paycheck Protection Program? And then also from your personal experience, how important was the program in keeping businesses like yours alive?
Well, Wisconsin is, cold weather. January, February is not good for the car business as a lot of other businesses. You come into March, you expect everything to be rock solid again. March and April, May are your fun months. We started out March fantastic. All of a sudden the pandemic comes up, businesses get closed, business almost stopped. I'm sitting there, I had meetings with my employees talking about layoffs. I hate to say this, but we have four different locations for new car sales, but I met with all the employees and basically had kind of tears in my eyes because at that point, we didn't know if we were going to be labeled and I don't like the term either, essential business.
Isn't that terrible?
Because every business is essential to somebody.
Exactly.
To the families, their employees, the community, so forth. And if we would have been closed for 2 months, I don't know if we would have survived. And with the payroll protection program, a lot of other dealer friends I know, a lot of businesses were able to, to take out the loans. It basically helped us make it through this last couple of months. I'm glad to say that out of 85 full-time employees, right now everybody's back on the payroll.
Yay, that's awesome.
Except for 2 that basically retired.
Okay.
So everybody's back. And I don't think it would been that way without the payroll protection plan. I would have been, okay, how can I save every dollar I can as opposed to how can I keep my employees? I didn't want my employees without jobs. I didn't want them to have to get retrained. I wanted to keep the doors open, and the payroll protection plan definitely helped me. It helped our business. I'm in 2 different dealer peer groups of about 20 dealers apiece. We get together 3 times a year. It's kind of a, good old businessmen's clubs, but we share the stuff, and basically everybody took advantage of it, and it helped all of us. I mean,
so the feedback was very good. Yeah. So the feedback was very good within your peer group in that same industry, that they all were able to get their, the Paycheck Protection Program, apply and actually get those funds to be able to keep their employees. Do they have a similar story to you in that they were able to retain the large number of employees like you did? The only attrition there was due to retirement.
Right, definitely. I've got some good friends. I mean, we got, whether it's a group me or it's a WhatsApp, I don't know of anybody that ended up letting employees go, except for maybe short-term furloughs, the end of March, maybe early April. Otherwise, everybody has kept all their employees.
That's fantastic. And I love the way you say it because, everybody is essential. They matter to each person, to their families. That job is essential to them and for their survival. It's really important. I think, thank God that this program worked as well as it did and that we were able to really keep this going. And I do think, I don't know, I'm not an economist, but I know a couple, that because we had the Paycheck Protection Program and things like this in place, that this was able to help us rebound out of this pretty quickly. The job numbers back employed, all of the above, because it provided some stability and continuity to give us a more auspicious restart. But, this is what I think. So, all right, it was really impossible for American small businesses to prepare, quite obviously, out of the blue, boom, for a pandemic like this. And it is an event that will likely change the face of America moving forward. Now, Mr. Coleman, what can small businesses do? Now that you think back, you're like, hey, now I'm prepared. Now I know what I need to do to be able to react and pivot if there's a similar crisis that presents itself like this in the future? What kind of advice and takeaways do you and kind of your group from sort of like your focus group that you guys do think that you would do or want going forward, or something else that you would advise to small businesses to help prepare them in the event something like this happen in the future? And what would you like from Congress, quite frankly, to avoid a similar situation in the future?
I don't know if there's an answer to that question. My dad started like Representative Maiko's father. My dad started in 1974. So, the same thing. I don't really remember the oil embargo because I was like 10 years old. John, you're a little older than me. But I remember the high interest rates of the early 80s. I remember, the recession after 9/11. But we could still keep our doors open. A lot of businesses were closed. I don't think any business can predict or prepare for being closed for, like in Wisconsin, until the Supreme Court ruled the middle of May. We had what percentage of people could not go to work?
Sure.
We've never had that. I don't think there's any way to prepare for that as a business owner. As a business owner, I can just do my best every day, making sure my customers are taken care of, my employees are trained, doing their best. Plan, and you try to take everything into consideration. I don't think anybody could ever take this into consideration.
Tough. I think you're right. It's a fair answer and it's an honest answer. But, my takeaway from it is that, we need more people that are businessmen, that are entrepreneurs, out there like yourself that can pivot and be able to react to a crisis situation and be able to create and move in a different direction or understand how to respond to a situation like this. That's why I love that we have, people like Representative Meiko in serving in government and serving the public, because you want someone like that that's looking out for you, in Congress, you want people like that in the Senate, and ultimately you want somebody like that in the White House that understands basic, business and how things should work, especially for this country during this time. I think it is a very necessary sort of skill set and life experience, business experience that is imperative to really pulling us out of this. I think it's very important. President Trump is pushing for the economy to reopen quickly, right? I mean, this is what he wants to do, put America back to business. But he wants to do it safely so that Americans can get back to work, stay healthy, and keep the economy going so we don't have any more interruptions. Now, as a business owner, I'd like to get your thoughts on the importance for reopening the economy. Do you believe that Americans are ready to go back to work? What do you see and hear in Wisconsin?
In our area, I think most people want to get back to work. I think we were created to work. I think people get the fulfillment out of work. We want to be, the vast majority of us want to provide for our families. Small business owners, people don't realize how important small businesses are to their local communities. Not just the tax base, things like that, but also who's the one that sponsors the little leagues?
Sure.
Who's the one that sponsors the high school sporting events?
Amazing.
I laugh because some days I get more letters, asking for donations for this and that. Where does that come from? We need to get back to work. We need our small business. And as you mentioned, one thing about Congress, and you're 100% right. How many people in Congress have had any business experience, have ever had to make a payroll, ever had to sign their name on a bottom line of a business loan, personal guarantee a loan, second mortgage their house to put more cash into or more money into the business? They don't understand. And that's why we need business people and having that outlook. One thing I think Congress could do too, that going back a little bit, is like liability protection. Mm-hmm. Something like this coronavirus. I've got some employees that have health issues.
Oh, it's true. Good point. Especially with pre-existing conditions and things of that nature.
I actually kind of sent one or two of them home and said, I don't want to see you until your doctor says it's okay. But if they come back to work, even with their doctor's okay, as a small business owner, boy, I'd hate to get also an attorney calling me or sending a certified letter saying I'm getting sued because I didn't do everything as reasonably necessary to protect the employee or our customers, even though we're doing our best and following as many CDC guidelines and so forth as we can. So I think that's one thing Congress could do.
That is a very, very good point, because when you think about that, that's a tremendous strain and a stress. You feel like you're a sitting duck. They're like, okay, wait, I'm gonna get sued for them. I'm trying to do the best. I'm trying to make people have paychecks to be able to take home for their families, but I got to keep them safe. And it is a tremendous amount of pressure and onus on a small business person, which you're right. There should be some kind of like liability or something like that. So, we're going to have to just get one of your local representatives. I think one to get on that for us. Okay. Oh, my God. All right. Well, thank you, guys. We're going to take one final commercial break. We're going to be right back for more with Team Trump Online, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Stay with us.
A bull in a china shop, changing Washington. It takes a Donald Trump to demand truth from China. Shut down foreign travel. Get ventilators and tests now. Raise unemployment benefits, cash relief to families. Washington's come to that. President Trump's not always polite. Mr. Nice Guy won't cut it. He does it his way, not the Washington way. But Donald Trump gets it done.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
In times of struggle, we see the true greatness of the American character. Americans from all walks of life are rallying together to defeat the unseen enemy.
The president is talking about hope for people.
The president's been working nonstop.
The president has demonstrated excellent, bold leadership.
He said everything that I could have hoped for.
He is being the kind of leader that people need.
I can tell you the actions he has taken, his team has been on it.
He did what a president's supposed to do.
There's spirit in our country like never before.
They're doing things that have never been done before. This is record time for the development of a vaccine.
The one that really deserves the credit are the American people.
We're going to get through this and come out stronger than ever before.
Our message is to all Americans, we love them, we're with them, and we will not let them down.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Welcome back to Team Trump Online, Spotlight, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Now I'd like to welcome Andrew Iverson, the Wisconsin State Director, and Andrew Hitt, Chairman of the Republican Party of Wisconsin. Thank you for both being here tonight. I appreciate it so much. Now, Andrew, quarantine did not slow down the Wisconsin Trump victory team. Oh, no, it did not. Believe me. Share with us some of the successes that your team has made over the past few months, and how will President Trump win Wisconsin this November? Everyone on this knows how important this is. Andrew, give me an excellent answer.
We show no signs of slowing down. So right now we're in the midst of starting to transition back into campaigning in person, and we're looking forward to the next steps. Now, as far as winning the state of Wisconsin, it's really going to come down to our grassroots effort. So we've been invested on the ground for months and months on end already, and we've been heavily focused on, like I said, recruiting, training, and activating our volunteers to conduct the voter contact that we need to do to win over the hearts and minds of Wisconsinites. The president has a great record, and we need 4 more years of his, and so a lot of it is going to be talking to people, persuading them, people talking to their neighbors and telling them why they are supporting President Donald J. Trump and why we need 4 more years of his leadership.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, and I have a fond memory of the last time that I was there and able to address all the young Republicans and everything. That was fantastic. My God, I loved that event. I remember everyone saying, oh my God, you're going to Madison. Like, what's going to happen? It's going to be protesters. I was like, settle down, folks. Not one protester.
Not one.
Not one, thank God. But you guys were great helping and everything with that. So God bless. But all right, so Chairman, tell us how reopening Wisconsin is coming along. What's the process and how does it look? Paint the picture for us at home.
Well, we're just so thankful for President Trump's leadership because, quite frankly, without his leadership, we wouldn't be reopening. We'd be shut down. The Democrats, they were on really one side of the equation, the shutdown equation. But President Trump really, with his leadership, his insight, he led us through this, and we had restrictions when we needed to. We're careful for people's health, but he was also always so focused on the economy and how we can reopen and how we can reopen safely and get America back and bring America back. And we're so grateful for that. You think about the work he did to deliver CARES Act money to Wisconsin.
Yes, very
important. A little over $2 billion delivered to Wisconsin. $100 million of that has gone into long-term care. $50 million into farm support programs, $25 million into rent assistance, $51 million into childcare providers. I mean, it's just phenomenal what he did to keep us going. The Small Business Association, $8.3 billion worth of loans into Wisconsin to 43,000 small businesses. Without President Trump, without his leadership to get us through this, Wisconsin would be in really bad shape right now. Yes. Thankfully, we have him leading the way.
Oh, absolutely. I love that you gave us all those numbers. It's very important to equip yourself with the facts like that so the viewers, the folks at home, can get the real information instead of listening to the nonsense from the mainstream media. Very dishonest. You know, this is the problem. And they don't want to tell the truth. They will go out of their way to lie and distort the facts and the numbers. And nobody is giving the president the credit that he deserves and the accurate information out there. That's why these programs, you can complain about something, or you can do something like this with fantastic people and guests that we have and actually get the information out there to the folks at home. So thank you so much, you know, for all of you and what you do. I want to talk a little bit about what it's like on the ground for Trump victory in Green Bay. Now, are they getting back in the field and resuming in-person training and voter contacts?
You're exactly right. And I think we're holding this call at exactly the right time, because this week we are beginning a campaign in person again. So this week we started making phone calls to our latest list of universe. But most recently this week we are going to begin opening 4 offices across the state. We are also beginning to knock doors and hold in-person TVLIs. So a lot of our Trump victory leadership initiatives are focused on knocking doors, but also knocking doors safely during the pandemic. And so that is going to be a big effort and a big focus of our team between now and November 3rd, because our team is not going to stop until we deliver Wisconsin's 10 electoral votes to the president.
Absolutely. See the focus and determination. That's why I like to go to Wisconsin. It's just a bunch of winners. You know what I mean? They're like amazing. They're like, we're getting after it. We're doing this. We're like mobilizing, which has also made you guys a target when we've had stuff there. Then people freak out. Why? Because you're effective. You're getting stuff done. I love the energy and the enthusiasm. And Chairman Hidlett, like how can supporters of President Trump, say they're in the Green Bay area, et cetera, how can they get involved with Trump victory? Because a lot of people say to me, hey, they want the specifics about their state or their area to be able to mobilize. They're sitting at home. They're tired of seeing this nonsense. They're tired of seeing Democrats destroy their cities and their states, and they want to do something so they have a little skin in the game. What can they do?
Well, we are seamlessly coordinated between the Wisconsin Republican Party and Trump Victory, the president's campaign. So we have one spot that you can go to volunteer. It's www.wisgop.org/volunteer. Go to that website, you get your information in, you'll get called by the Trump Victory team so that we can get you activated, so that we can get you trained up, so that we can get you out in the field and being helpful every day to re-elect this president. We've organized into neighborhood teams. You'll be on a neighborhood team. You'll be going door to door. You'll be doing phone calls. You'll be talking to people oftentimes that you know that are in your neighborhood, talking to them about what the president has done for you, for your life, and what he's done for this country, and how important it is, and how important the choice is between President Trump and Joe Biden in this fall.
Fantastic. And you know what? Like the president loves Wisconsin too, big time. And he's super excited. We're going to be getting out there again and campaigning. We'll be doing rallies out there. So we are coming to you. All right, Wisconsin. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be amazing. So I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. We really appreciate Representative John Meiko, Mark Coleman, Andrew Iverson, and Chairman Hitt for spending the evening with us. I got to tell you, I give them an A+. This was an outstanding panel tonight. I'm fired up about it. And we need your help as well at home, because we need as many patriots as possible to join our efforts to keep America great this November. And here's how you can get involved. Download the new groundbreaking Trump 2020 app. It's now available on Apple and Android, and you can stay in contact with us. Go ahead and text me. Text Trump to 88022. It's that simple, and you'll be connected with everything. And if you, your friends, your family, or your neighbors want to be involved in our fight to re-elect President Donald J. Trump, please visit armyfortrump.com. And my personal favorite, join my team. I love them. My team at Trump Victory Finance Committee by becoming a volunteer fundraiser or a bundler. You can text BUNDLE, B-U-N-D-L-E, to 88022. Thanks for tuning in this evening. We will see you next time. God bless, Wisconsin.